I'll lift up my eyes unto the hills, from whence comes my help. My help comes from the Lord, the God of the heavens and the earth. Many trust in chariots and some in horses, but we trust in the name of the Lord our God. Yes, it's on the note we say, lift up your heads, O you gates, and be lifted up, you everlasting doors, and the King of glory shall come in. Who is this King of glory? The Lord strong and mighty, the Lord mighty in battle. Lift up your heads, O you gates, and be lifted up, you everlasting doors, and the King of glory shall come in. Who is this King of glory? The Lord of hosts. He's the King of glory. Yes, it's on that note I welcome you to this amazing edition. I'm going to our PDP members stop encouraging APC government out of fear. And page 7 inaugurates SAMSON's zonal caretaker committee. Let's focus on our problems first, not outsiders, says Bayelsa governor, beg your pardon. Alright, so moving on to the Nation newspaper this morning, we'll take a look at it. You're going to see these are no more reliance on costly borrowings, says Wale Adun. Still on the Nation, federal government kicks off training for 2 million IT jobs in June. Our policies will drive down affairs and worst times over, says Idris. Akpabio gets second confidence vote in 2 weeks. Of course, Tinubu, our reforms have saved us from bankruptcy. Well, 1 million Nigerians to benefit in Dangote Foundation's 16 billion Naira food program. Also, I remain a loyal APC member, says Buhari. You can find it out on page 4 of the Nation newspaper. Well, Fubara proposes Wednesday to present budget. Fubara proposes Wednesday to present budget on page 6. Well, the maintain current rates for your services, that's coming from FCCPC, details multi-choice on page 7. House approves a committee's report on tax reform bills. Okay, so let's leave it at that on the Nation newspaper. Moving on to the Punch. Well, on the front page of the Punch newspaper, federal government knocks Obasanjo as ex-president rates Buhari worst in corruption. Our presidency lampoons OBJ for warning Tinubu government may dwarf Buhari's fraud index. Presidency lampoons OBJ for warning Tinubu government may dwarf Buhari's fraud index. Also, tax reform reps approve new VAT sharing formula for states. On page 10 of the Punch newspaper, page 19 of the Punch newspaper, federal government foreign airlines begin talks over rising fares. Well, for 2027, PDP governors will be NNPP Mall Alliance to stop Tinubu. That's on page 2 of the Punch newspaper. Well, for this 5% VAT, which is a VAT value-added tax, reject increase to 15%. Reject inheritance tax. Approve committee's report. We await details of approval before comment, says Nasima. And don't celebrate yet, CSO advises Nigerians. Alright, so you can see on the front page, Tinubu breaks fast with Senate leaders. Nigeria on the brink, but there's hope, says Catholic Bishop on page 26. For Rivers crisis will shock Tinubu if Fubara is impeached, says Egbesu. For Rivers crisis will shock Tinubu if Fubara is impeached. That's coming from Egbesu. But they judge to Tinubu Wike's rhetoric's inflammatory, dangerous, embarrassing. He talks as if he controls everybody in Nigeria. Also, Rivers Assembly to probe CJ, that's the CJ over alleged age falsification. Well, the Chief Justice of Rivers State faces alleged age falsification. Also, Lagos consider interest of Rivers, Fubara backs lawmakers, others. And Lagos Calabar Coastal Highway, Obasanjo free not to use road. Okay, free not to use road when completed. All right, this is a jibe from the transport minister. All right, says transportation minister, I beg your pardon, says Lagos Calabar Coastal Highway, Obasanjo free not to use road when completed, says Dev Umahi. That's on page 10 of the Vanguard. For 50 years, we were spending money belonging to unborn generation, says Tinubu. For 50 years, we were spending money belonging to unborn generations, says Tinubu on page 26 of the Vanguard. All right, so we're going to car borrowing. All right, so I look forward to that. Millions of Nigerians still struggling with poor internet access, says Minister. Tinubu has performed very well. Peter Obi says Tinubu has performed very well. Where's this coming from? Okay, so well, Peter Obi said that on page 9. You want to know why he said so? Maybe is it kind of being sarcastic now, or you want to know? Read further. That's not to say the president isn't doing well, so don't get me wrong. All right, so we'll enact a Fly Nigeria Act to boost local airline. That's coming from Festus Kiyamo. We'll enact Fly Nigeria Act to boost local airlines. And lastly, in the ever-exciting world of sports, the World Cup qualifier, Shell replaces injured Tella with Toruna Riga. Okay, Toruna Riga. All right, so moving on to the Guardian newspaper this morning, dearth of first-class solutions mocks high turnover of varsity geniuses. Also, free gown to town forum. Also, again, TTN battles vandals as 4 towers collapse worsens grid supply. Dangote Foundation launches 16 billion naira food aid for 1 million Nigerians. Inmates dying in custodial centers due to poor feeding panel fines. And Fubara tax assembly on Supreme Court ruling amid calls for CJ probe. Well, for Natasha, Senate President, National Assembly clerk, others face contempt charge. No amount of collision can oust Tinubu in 2027, says Taylor. All right, so moving on to the Blueprint newspaper. Dangote unveils a 16 billion naira food intervention for 1 million vulnerable Nigerians. Lagos emerges Africa's second largest economy with $259 billion GDP. In the ever-exciting world of sports, World Cup qualifiers, Toruna Riga replaces Stella in Super Eagles squad. After 120 billion naira revenue loss, federal government moves against private jet owners. Illegalities perpetrated for 50 years, says Kiyamo. Tinubu committed to quality education for all Nigerians, says Alausa. History will judge president favorably, says Idris. I'll never turn my back on APC, Buhari declares. Presidency to Obasanjo, Lagos Calabar Coastal Highway Legacy Project. I'm ready to work with Obi for Nigeria's movement. Who says? Read further. Driver escapes a task force, kills a toddler. Driver escaping task force kills toddler. Quite pathetic. 27-year-old PDP party to beat. Alright, so lastly this morning on the Daily Independent, I'm ready to work with Obi to rescue Nigeria, says the Bauchi governor. Varsities get 2.8 billion naira each in 2025 TED Fund disbursement. That's on page 7 of the Daily Independent. Also, Rivers crisis, Wike's rhetoric, inflammatory, cautioning, but the judge tells Tinubu on page 29. Raps leave VAT at 7.5%, adopt tax reform bills. South-South Zonal Congress won't stand. Damagun dares weak Paris fraud index. Former President Olusegun Obasanjo has launched a scathing critique of former President Muhammadu Buhari's administration, declaring it the worst in Nigeria's democratic history. Obasanjo, however, said the current government of President Bola Tinubu appears to be following the same path of misgovernance and corruption and may surpass Buhari on a new official residence for Vice President Kashim Shettima, calling it a misplaced priority and conduit designed to embezzle public funds. He said, in quote, typical examples of waste, corruption, misplaced priority are the murky Lagos Calabar Coastal Highway, on which the president had turned deaf ears to protest, and the new vice president official residence built at a cost of 21 billion naira in a time of economic hardship to showcase the administration hitting the ground running and to show the importance of the office of the vice president. What small mind he highlighted. An excerpt.
So, yeah. But, all these statements credited to the former president happen to be so weighty. You know, somebody like myself or people that are lesser than former President Obasanjo might not be able to say this, you know, to the face of His Excellency Senator Bola Ahmed Tinubu, unless they get a mouth as big as that of Gargantua, you know that animal, very big mouth. So, let's look at it. Obasanjo accused, the current administration of wasteful spending on that Lagos Calabar highway, which happened to be the high point of this of what you have read. And looking at that from various dimensions. One, you want to look at, the timeliness of that particular project. It is coming at a time when we need a whole lot of money to salvage the situation which His Excellency Senator Bola Ahmed Tinubu met on ground. Remember that, prior to, the election, Nigeria were thrown into a kind of economic, trouble, courtesy of the Naira redesigning and all that. Economy were slowed down. People lost a whole lot of money. Families were groaning. A whole lot of things happened. So, but of course, we passed through that. Election came only to also find ourselves in another, economic policy that further degrade families and slow down the economy in such a manner that, it is very difficult to chop now. So now, what happened to that particular Lagos?
Are you saying it's difficult to chop? Because the last time I checked, the spokesperson for the president and a lot of the party, this administration has been saying that since the Ramadan, foodstuff and other things has gone so low.
And not so low, a bit low. I agree with that, a bit lower. But
I want to ask, do we get to buy something in the same market? Because as far as I am concerned, I haven't seen anything gone low.
Now, do we have, that kind of spending power and financial model to get them, even as low as you want to portray it. You see, when you are living in the palace, it's very difficult for you to know what is happening to the ordinary man. I mean, the downtrodden now. Now, coming back to that particular Lagos-Calabar highway, the president mentioned that he did not follow due process, and that I think the minister need to take responsibility for that, because there wasn't anything like competitive bidding. Second, it did not even pass through the House of the National Assembly for approval. It's such a big project. That is meaning that it has failed integrity test. Not only that, he accused His Excellency for nepotism. Mr. President was approving a project in which he personally has, interest, because his son happened to be on the board of that particular, Chagori, whatever. Not only that, the Mr. Chagori that owned that particular company, that sits on the board of that company, was passing a whole lot of accolade on Obasanjo. But that one will not deter him from saying all this that is saying. So, well, of course, I think truth be told, Obasanjo is right in this matter.
21 billion. I wanted to quickly touch on that because of time.
21 billion wasted on the
vice president.
Vice president. In
his
fact,
residence.
Yes, his residence is quite untimely as well. Not a time when the president is urging us Nigerians to tighten our belts, so all those things anywhere. So the rationalization is not there. Nobody is blocking leakages and all that. A lot of things are happening. So I think for now, to me, in this regard, Obasanjo is right. But then that's not making a sense as well. But then, whether he's a saint or not, I think he is speaking the mind of the ordinary Nigerian, that we have, a complex emergency that surpasses, attentions given to roads and all that. If half of the attention that are given to roads are given to food security, I think Nigerians will not be crying today.
All right, so let's look at this particular one. Suspension. Embattled Natasha files first suit as Senate backs Akpabio. Looking at the story, the senator represented Kogi Central Senatorial District, Natasha, in effect pending the hearing and determination of the motion on notice for an interlocutory injunction. The court also issued an order directing the defendant to show cause why an interlocutory injunction should not be granted to restrain them from proceeding with the purported investigation against the senator Akpotiodu again for alleged misconduct. The court declared that any action taken during the pendency of the suit is null, void, and of no effect whatsoever. I want to leave it at that. It's very lengthy. I could see where the Senate leader was reacting, talking about Opeyemi was actually reacting. Bamidele reacting. Senator Opeyemi Bamidele was reacting to it and said, well, the court has given an order, but then they have their own rules, and their rules is in line with the Nigerian constitution, and then that the court should not meddle in internal affairs.
I disagree with Opeyemi Bamidele. Whatever be their rule as contained in their red book, cannot, be superior to the provisions of the laws of the land and the constitution. And especially if they are claiming that it is superior, I think first they will need to first obey court order and challenge it. So that is what they ought to do in a situation whereby even at that, go and check it out. The person that sat on the Ethics and Privileges Committee in the House too lacked the integrity to even be in the House in the first instance. The lawyer, Emmanuel, having been accused, he too personally agreed to the allegation that while in the U.S., you know what he did there? Collected somebody's money to
and failed to show up in court.
And you fled U.S. with our money. So if failed integrity says in the first instance to even contest, it's so unfortunate that we don't conduct integrity tests on candidates. If they do, it's on paper. It's most of them you just see that they have committed one thing or the other from overseas and come back to Nigeria only to even I don't know, consolidate their So all those things put together, and not only that. Remember, even when somebody there is an allegation or somebody said, okay, something is wrong, give me. They did not give this lady a fair hearing before passing the judgment. And above all, the president of the Senate should not be a judge in his own case. Maybe maybe on a good day he should have sat down and allowed the deputy to
the Senate leader. The Senate
yeah.
leader made that clear. He said, well, he didn't sit on that particular matter. That what he sat on was on the allegation leveled against Natasha that she did what we call grossly misconduct.
How about the allegation of Natasha against the House? Was she given
according to it, it was said that she cannot sign a petition she leveled.
And another petition came, signed by the people from our
constituent.
Yes. How about that? So now the thing is, let me tell you something. I think Akpabio, yes, I think Akpabio, you know the reason why most of the people in the House, not as if they are happy about it, but of course, most of them are enjoying a particular position, a particular jurisdiction from the House.
Natasha went to the United Nations to level that allegation, and they are yet, the United Nations has actually written to the Senate to get their own hearing. You can't hear from
that is what you do when there's allegation. You give room for the other side. For the other side to tell their own story. So that is what the House needed to do in the first instance in the case of Natasha.
I think Akpabio, in all fairness, Akpabio has done that by saying he was raised by a single mother, and he was even given the best governor who's gender unbiased. He's got a lot of accolades when it comes to being gender unbiased.
But then, well, your deeds, your achievements, everything about you can be best observed by a third party.
But then, given the fact that he's been given all the maximum support from the entire Senate.
Well, I told you, no one will want to raise his or her voice. Who will bear the cat in the house? They are enjoying one thing or the other, even the opposition. Don't forget that Emmanuel that sat on that particular Ethics and Privileges Committee comes from the Labour Party. So should there be any change now in the House? Some people will lose the privileges they enjoy in the House. So all of them will not want to say anything that is contrary. So I think for now, they need to clear their name. They need to wash that mess. And don't let me deceive you. Don't let me deceive you. Akpabio may be on his way out because it suggests that something is wrong. If in 3 years you have been receiving up to about 3 or 4 vote of confidence, it means that something is wrong somewhere. That is just the meaning. So if nothing is wrong, nobody will be calling for vote of confidence.
He got it. He got it in the House.
Yes, of course. Even in 2 weeks, vote of confidence. It means that something is wrong somewhere. Yeah, something is wrong somewhere. That is what that suggests. Okay,
let's look at this story. Tax reform. RAPS approved new VAT sharing formula for states. Looking at the story, the House of Representatives on Thursday approved a new value-added tax sharing formula, allocating 55% to state and 35% to local government councils. This decision followed the adoption of a report by the House Committee on Finance and 4 tax bills transmitted to the National Assembly by President Bola Tinubu in October 2024. Presenting the report on Thursday, the chairman of the committee, Abiodun Falike, summarized the extensive review process, which followed a public hearing held from February 26 to February 28, 2025. The report was considered clause by clause and adopted in a session presided over by the Speaker, Tajuddin Abbas, yesterday. The committee made 19 key recommendations under the Nigerian Tax Administration Bill, including a revised VAT distribution framework that had been a contentious issue between state governors and the presidency. Revised VAT sharing formula. Section 77 of the report introduces a new VAT distribution structure for states. 50% of the revenues to be distributed equally, 20% based on population and 30% based on consumption. The emphasis is placed on the actual place of consumption, regardless of where tax returns are filed. Local governments will receive 35% of VAT revenue under a similar formula. Additionally, the timeline for issuing taxpayer identification numbers has been extended for 2 or 5 working days to accommodate possible administrative challenges. Any refusal to issue a TIN, which is the taxpayer identification number, must be justified and communicated to the applicant. There's a lot to look out for in this tax bill. Do you see, a lot of persons are saying, in all fairness, that the reps have been well represented, better than the red chambers?
In most cases, that's the way it happens. You know, they are more in number than the Senate, and in most cases,
is it about the number?
You see them more, you know, being radical than, you know, the Senate. So the Senate are closer to His Excellency in most cases. You don't see, you know. So, but it's coming down to the main issue. Well, I think this is a good step. It's a step forward. What they did, the
sharing formula.
The sharing formula before is happened to be 50, 30, 20, 50, 20, 30, 50, 30, 20. That is 50 on equal basis. Yes, that is what the people from the north want. That's what they want, and they have gotten that. And you see, before it used to be 30 based on geographical and population, and 20 on derivation. But, you know, there is a shift there now. So it is now 20 based on population or geography or whatever, and 30 based on places where those things are consumed. That is on what to call, I mean, I don't know what to call it now. They call it a particular name. So now, another thing about it is that so it means you are going to pay more for products because VAT is charged on, you know, finished product that you purchase anywhere. So that is that's a feat which I hope, if you know. Another one is the issue of TETFON, NITDA, and NASENE, so that they will keep on enjoying their few allocation from all those from the VATable item. Another one that I love so much is the imposition of stiff penalty on erring personalities, because in most cases you find out that the tax people, they are influenced or they collaborate with people to, you know, undermine, you know, what are taxed and what tax, you know, they are manipulating, they are tax thieves. So should you be found guilty, either being the staff of FIRS or, you know, a company representative or a tax consultant, then it's going to be 2 years, 3 years jail term or whatever. So another one that I love so much is that they are now reviewing the presidential power for granting tax waivers. So you shouldn't do that. If you are proposing that, it has to come to the House. Why are you giving such a person tax waiver? Remember, more than in a particular year, up to about 5 trillion naira was given as tax waiver, you know, to a whole dose of companies, including Dangote, Bua, and all that, during the time of Buhari. So such now will not be if this one comes to say that the president will not have the prerogative power to do that. So you have to revert to the House of Assembly before you do that. Likewise, the governors. So you say, okay, don't pay tax. Instead of paying tax, go and do this. No, you know, I think it's faulty.
All right, so let's quickly look at this before I put the phone lines up. Phone lines will be officially open right about now. Just in just 1 minute, Fubara begs lawmakers, says, consider Rivers people. I'm not going to read anything there. But then, what do you think concerning that? Has he finally bowed to pressure?
Now, the thing is not to pressure. He has to bow to the court ruling. He has to obey it. To the letters. Because that is he has sworn to protect the Constitution. And that is what the Constitution says. The Constitution still maintains that the Supreme Court, you know, happened to be for him to make sure that the state keep running, that should be law and order. He has to, in the interest of the people, obey that particular thing. But, you know, one thing I notice is that the other side is like they don't want that opportunity. So they want a situation whereby the governor should go at all, should go at all cost. So going by the utterances of Wike, going by what happened when he went to the house for the presentation, so, you know, to the extent that even the gate man insulted a sitting governor. You know, let me quote the gate man now to the governor. He was talking to the governor. He said, "Do you have the speaker's number?" He said, "I don't know you. Whether government house, governor, or whatever, I don't know you. Call the speaker if you have his number, so that I can hear from him before I could either accept a letter or let you hear or whatever."
Isn't that
so
the meaning?
That is, so bad. bad enough. You know, so you know, insulting a governor, you know, that shouldn't be.
An executive office has been quickly. I mean, it's been messed at the moment.
But I think the governor did so well, you know, for
by
not
ignoring.
being, of course, he has to take everything, but address the fact that okay, we are here.
But that's an insult.
Opportunity to redeem his image.
All right, so
he has the opportunity, you know, to play his role as a true statesman by allowing priest to reign in River State, and wait for Fubara come next election. That's what I think he should do.
All right, so let's quickly go for this timeout. When we're back, the program continues. Please, let's go for this commercial. We'll be right back.
My people, me and you no get electricity wahala again. Oh, I see solar don't make and they easy kulele. With this new kind of bonga easy life solar product, we then just carry land with the multi for Ibadan. With this them powerful solar kits, we they for different sizes, original power stations like a 200 watts, 300 watts, 600 watts. With the inverter and electric motorbike, we sharp as we they sell, we they install electric motorbike, we sharp as we they sell, we they install. Now so we they repair power solar, so we they repair power solar system and components. OIC, BB companies, churches, system and components. OIC, BB companies, churches, mosque, event center, everybody. Wakago OIC Solar Company today for Shop C4, NTA, everybody. Wakago OIC Solar Company today for Shop C4, NTA Shopping Complex, Agodi Gate, Ibadan. Now so then they for SAMSON Shopping Complex, Ekulodi Junction, New Ife Road, Ibadan. Website www.oicsolar.net. For Instagram plus TikTok, OIC Solar 1. Tulu 081 0502 0388. Better light don't come.
All right, so welcome back from that break. Okay, so our studio lines officially open right now. You can call in 0705 510 0705 510 or 0905 444 1033. Call any of those lines and we're ready to take your call. Remember, it's just 1 minute each for each one, so we can get to receive everyone at least. I mean, 1 minute each shouldn't be too small for us to take. So let's take the very first call. Hello, good morning to you.
Hello, good morning.
Good morning to you, sir.
It's Comrade Ken. And it's through that gigantic project where you will be able to get money. It's a waste something. The time is awkward. It should have done the most pressing one. Oyo, Ibadan, Ilorin Road.
East-West Road as well.
Express Road. That is the one that is needed now. We don't need all those things. We can go to Calabar or Enugu. It's not okay. It's not profitable. It's just an elephant project where the president will get money as a free tenant.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right, so let's take another. Hello, good morning. Also, sorry about that. You can call back 0705 510 33 or 0905 444 1033. Hello, good morning.
Hello, good morning.
Good
My name
morning.
is Kelly Balabi from Malaga Shabodo.
You're welcome,
I just want
sir.
to comment on this tax issue that House of Rep said that the security should be exempt from the paying personal income tax.
Yeah.
It's a good development. While on the issue of VAT, we say 50% equally among all the states, 30% on derivation, if my body didn't with me,
Yes.
and 20%
Population.
on the consumption. I hope the prayer of the North and
No, the
South
population is 20%. The consumption is 30%, which is the derivation.
consumption is 30.
Yes.
Okay. I hope with this formula, the prayer of the northern people has been answered. This is my comment. Have a nice working day.
Yeah.
Thank you. All right, so let's take this one. Hello, good morning. Hello? Okay, you can call back 0705 510 33. I love this brevity this morning. Hello, good morning.
Hello, good morning.
Good morning to you. You're sounding very, very low. You seem very... Yes, I can hear you now. You're welcome. You're welcome.
Good morning.
Let us put the messenger and let us check the message. Because from what Baba said, I can discover that Baba was right. The reason is that a few weeks ago, Oyo Ogumosho Road was awarded by our Minister of Finance that road is swimming just 8 kilometers. And if you go and check that road very well, nothing like bridge or they want to construct bridge, and they were awarded is 148 billion to a new contractor. Not only that, and we want to renovate International Conference Center with 39 billion. See, we need to reset ourselves. If truly they want to serve the people, we need sincerity of purpose. So what Baba said me the right in that direction. Baba the Wiki, see, Bubara is ready to do the needful, but the state pro-wiki lawmakers, the wiki is giving a directive. And what the wiki said during the few days ago that the devil will not fall, not to happen. Yes, not to happen, but if they impeach wiki, you don't have any power to become a governor again. Or we are reaching the whole world. But Mr. President needs to call Wiki and advise to him and talk to him the way he did in Lagos or Obasa and Miranda. If truly Mr. President wants to solve this issue, not because of the 2027 election. That's my own submission.
Thank you. All right, so 0705 500 1033 or 0905 444 1033. I told you we didn't touch on an international story, but the international politics is quite interesting to look out for. Those following the development between Donald Trump, Ukraine, Russia is being a very, very interesting one. Hello, good morning.
Speaking.
You're welcome, Baba. Thank you.
Good morning, Baba.
Good morning, sir. How are you, sir?
I want to speak on
Natasha.
Natasha and Akpabio.
Natasha, they want to translate what the woman did. Nothing is wrong. Do you think what is going on in Nigeria is not exposed to all the world? Everything we are saying seeing in Nigeria is exposed to all over the world. So what I say Nigeria, wọ́n á fẹ́ process ẹ̀ pé gbogbo tó ṣe òdà tó ṣe dá lórí wọ́n lè bá lóko wọ́n fẹ́ treat ẹ̀ wọ́n fẹ́ máa treat ẹ̀ ní tó yẹ kó rí bẹ́ẹ̀ pé tó ṣe òdà tó ṣe dá o.
Baba, she was not impeached. She was not impeached. She was only given suspension. All right, so let's get it right. She wasn't impeached. She can't be impeached by the House. She can only be suspended. Hello, good morning. Oh, sorry about that. Okay, so quickly call back. We're short of time, but just a few each, and I'll take 3 calls. Hello, good morning.
Hello, Mr. Samson. Good morning.
Good morning to you, sir.
Good morning, my pastor. How are you, sir?
Yes. Please speak up, sir. Speak up. Speak up.
Yeah. Okay, sir. The extension of the military from distance issue. Does it mean that this military are not part of the system? Why is it that other Nigerians and the world? It means that the president is afraid of. I think we should fear God as well. Fear God and do something better for Nigerians. Not only the military. Good morning.
All right, thank you so much.
Yeah, the police
for
are
that.
there as well, Sabi.
Yeah, they are all there.
Okay.
I mean, all of them should
Other
be.
aspect of
should be
security
touched.
agencies are there. Yes, but what pastor is trying to say is that maybe he's trying to like bribe the military so that there wouldn't be any. So
Any usurping of power?
Okay, so things like that. That's what he's trying to.
Okay, so let's look at this quickly before we go. It's about international politics.
Right.
Donald Trump has been threatening. I mean, he said, "Well, he has placed about 200% on any kind of alcohol importation into the country." He says, "Well, they've been taking advantage of the U.S. The entire world," he said.
He said Nigeria has a great lesson to learn from Donald Trump.
Donald Trump is not doing friend with
Putin.
Putin.
His local economy in all fronts. Okay,